Ukrainian context, the perspective of Igor Kolomoisky in small-town America. Let's try and understand Project Ukraine in terms of the progressives' globalist ideology. The ideology has its roots in Marxism and also the Drang nach Osten drive to the east expansion drives and pogroms of the 12th and 13th centuries. Essentially, utilizing a strategy of divide and conquer, progressives consistently balkanize people, splitting them into ghettos paired in sets of two. Generally, they operate in the context of a reworking of reality, the relationship between those who have and those who have not. Politicized, this pairing of words becomes those who are the oppressors and those who are the oppressed. Many of you are aware, however, that they and only the leftists are in charge of the labeling. For them, the effort to eliminate oppression is conducted as an existential class war that is supposed to resolve itself by creating utopian infrastructures and cultural structures rendering religions unnecessary, but not the state unnecessary, while ushering in a utopian society of endless abundance and happiness. And if anyone gets in the way, extermination, justified by ideas in the theory of evolution, weeds out the unfit in preparation for the brave new world of the fit. The paired term oppressors and oppressed is a metaphor which can easily be exchanged with terms such as white versus black, master versus slave, bourgeoisie versus proletariat, which is the Marxist pairing most people are familiar with. You get the picture. It is a picture. Those paired categories act symbolically, consciously, and subliminally as an answer to questions when young, untrained minds or untrained and indoctrinated minds, not able to discern good from evil, ask themselves and others about the nature of injustice, the nature of suffering in the world, and they get this as a response and a solution to these questions. And this is a very simplistic model of understanding, which is used to engage with people intimately and politically. So let's say I'm a slave, my oppressor is the master. Our relationship is defined by a Hegelian dialectic, but the dialectic allows that the slave can transcend slavery by becoming a worker, the proletariat. But then this new relationship is defined by the Hegelian dialectic pairing of the worker's relationship to an owning class, the person who owns the business and the instruments and machines to power labor. And then you have the proletariat transcending this state of affairs by taking these instruments for himself and making ownership of capital a collective endeavor, creating the abundance and happiness for all systems that communism promises to deliver for people. This is its aim and this is its goal. At this stage, the class differences are supposed to disappear. Have you ever been friends with such people with these ideas, and after a while you feel as though your soul is gone because these people interact with you as though you are only an object, an objectified proletariat? Based on the pairings that you fall into, these leftist folks are actually themselves the racist, the sexist, and are dismissive of your human dignity on its own terms. To them, you only exist within the paired dynamism of a cultural Marxist dialectic. You realize they are dealing with their projection of you, and the real you they refuse to see because it doesn't fit the narrative. And without the narrative, they have neither the cause nor the platform. That is why there is such a lockstep mechanism to how they act as a unit, which is on full display in President Donald J. Trump's impeachment proceedings. You're watching members in Congress display behaviors of the cyborg proletariat, which is mired in case-identified revolution, perpetual revolutions, and they are programmed to repeat platitudes of victimization and demonstrating acts of speaking truth to power, virtual signaling, which is an activity they have honed to a finely calibrated art. But rest assured, your personality, richly endowed and arrayed by the Creator above, is not extinguished, it is just suppressed. So the above is my observation of how Marxist culturalism plays out in political relationships. However, in addition, strange bedfellows are found in the dungeons of expediency. So don't be surprised in that they side with the so-called oppressed entities who are actually oppressors, using them to advance an agenda that is despotic at the least. To them it isn't strange because to further their agenda, Any means necessary will be employed. Thus, these categorizations work for them, as the progressives or neocons then use these identities in their Hegelian parians, encompassing any trove of identities one can balkanize a people into, the familiar ones being blacks, Hispanics, indigenous, women, children, but not those who are aborted, and in the case of Ukraine, freedom fighters versus pro-Russian terrorists. These characterizations are then distilled for their base by their public relations propaganda machine, the mainstream media, which conveniently leaves out the part of Nazi-leaning individuals destroying churches in eastern Ukraine.